We're joined now by legal expert and commentator Mpumelele Zikalala to talk a little bit more about these developments. A very good evening to you, Mpumelele. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Perhaps while we talk about these timeframes, can we relate them to the terms of reference and the process that's unfolding? Can you remind our viewers of this?
Good evening to you and also good evening to the SABC listeners. Basically, what the committee is charged to do, they are charged to say the president has got certain obligations in which he's supposed to stick to as per the constitution. Can you please investigate for us whether those particular duties as listed in the constitution have been flouted? And if they have, then recommend to us what would be the best course of action or sort of recommendation to do or to act, so that at the end of the day we take a decision which is in line with what the constitution is telling us. We do not want to say certain allegations to the president if we don't have scope, and we want the members of the National Assembly to take the informed decision based on the report which is going to be provided by this particular committee. But some may say, why do we need a committee to state the obvious? Why do we need the committee who's going to double investigate certain matters? As we all know, the law enforcement agencies are already on the matter, dealing with the matter. So what difference is this committee going to make if the law enforcement agencies are already doing their job? Why don't you wait to apply pressure to the law enforcement agencies and say to them, finish your job, finish the level of investigation, and then come back and report to us as to where your investigation is and what sort of course of action would you like us to take?
So this is a motion for the Assembly for an inquiry into President Ramaphosa's removal on the grounds of serious violation of the Constitution and of the law and serious misconduct. Is it a fait accompli? Should the President's answers be less than satisfactory or damning?
It is a bit. Let's remove the two. Let's start with the legal obligation of the president to disclose and make sure that everything is done according to how matters are supposed to be. So if there's a burglary that has taken place in your place, you are supposed to be the first person to then say, I want to home on this particular day, however, I want to report this particular crime, especially because it involves foreign currency. So don't try and brush under the carpet certain allegations which are so important and they also pertain to you. Remember, you're the number one citizen of the country. You should lead by example. And the leading by example is to then say, I want to show at all times, under all circumstances, that I have nothing to hide. In instances in which I've been a victim of crime, I'm going to be the very first person to go into a law enforcement agency and report a particular matter because I so believe in them that I can be able to investigate this matter and get justice. Not to keep quiet and do what the president has done and report certain matters in a manner in which it is not supposed to be done in that particular manner, and use channels which are not supposed to be used at the same place. So it's important at the end of the day for them to be accommodated and to then say, follow the proper procedures as they are, and make sure that in instances where that has not been done, we need to know the reasons of why the particular process is not there. The president is not giving the same obligation and duties as us. His are more than ours, and all the time in instances in which he brushes up with the law, it must be checked. It must be checked. If it's something that an ordinary person would have done, or is it something in which maybe there are certain things that were being hidden? If that's the case, let's find the correct remedial action, and part of it may be the removal from him from the office of the president.
Just on the issue of reporting the matter and to whom he's reported, we know part of the complaint was the fact that he did not report it to any police official, that he in fact reported it to a member of the protection services, that of course being General Wally Root. Would there be any justification for doing that? Is there an automatic assumption that the protection services are deployed by, on some level, the SAPS, and therefore there's a train of or a reporting system that would have led to that?
But let's look at why that particular police official was there, close to the close proximity of the president, is to guard against the safety of the president. So if a certain crime has taken place, one could say, because the member of the SABC is there, let me report to it. But the next important question would be, why, Mr. President, didn't you follow up and ask where is the case number? Why didn't you follow up and say, where was the matter in terms of it being investigated? When it comes to certain allegations that are leveled against you, you should have placed extra caution or extra care, because you even know the stature and the level of the office that you're occupying. So it's important that you follow those rules to the T, especially when it comes to allegations of the potential breaking of applicable legislation. In this case, money laundering, and the case of stating how much foreign currency can you actually have in your possession. So if you know that these particular matters are going to affect you, why don't you come back and disclose these matters so that they are known to the public? And why don't you make sure at the end of the day that it's easy for to say, I did not hide anything. We get reports about the president's life every single day. So a statement from the president's office to simply say, on this particular day, the president has learned that there's been a treasury, an amount of money for the currency has been stolen, allegedly been stolen, and the type of matters and the course of action that the president has taken. This particular process would have sufficed. It leaves a level of concern and a level in which has prompted this type of investigation to take to then say, why didn't you report this matter? What was so difficult about reporting this matter to your normal police station, getting a case number, and having this matter investigated years ago than doing it now after it is submitted to the public in this manner?
So we know that the ATM, one of the things that they brought to Parliament was saying that Ramaphosa was guilty of violating the Constitution. This is what they allege, which provides that cabinet members and deputy ministers may not undertake other work, paid work or publicly stated. The president himself had previously said that he's a farmer, that he's in the cattle business and the game business, that he buys and sells animals. Can this be taken as a declaration that will satisfy those who are saying that he never actually intimated that he was running a business while as sitting head of state? But we also know that in 2014 that he said there was a blind trust that is running his affairs.
And in fact, to add on that, when asked in other platforms, they then said, no, that blind trust did not actually materialize. So one wonders how then are the previous business operations of the president been conducted if that particular process did not occur. And even if it did, then it means that the blind trust is not really that blind. It's going to know the type of operations that are taking on there. Most importantly, in which I think part of this investigation and what the law enforcement agency should be investigating is what level of government to his own businesses, his transactions are taking place, and is there any benefit in which he is acquiring that there could be a reasonable inference that there's a certain level of influence that he has in that business being acquired by his own entities. But nonetheless, even regards to his own private affairs, at the end of the day, they must be disclosed. I would assume that there is a proper manner of making sure that all those particular things are disclosed in Parliament, and everybody would know as to what are the business operations in which the president is then attached to. And the most important question would be, is there any business to government business which is taking place where the president is involved? And that basically should be frowned upon, because it should not occur at all. Because we need all the time and dedication and effort of the president to be solely concentrated on making sure that us as members of the country are being served to the best of his abilities. So if it's going to be bogged down in its own private operations, then definitely something that should be investigated.
Let me just, if you can very quickly, what is international best practice on these matters? Constitutionally speaking, what do most countries follow as a rule of law?
With regard to the president being involved in private business?
Yes.
They should not be involved at all. All your time and effort should be concentrated in making sure that you are able to serve the country. If it must be you are involved in any type of business, relinquish your position and make sure that you don't even know what those business operations are taking place, so that it's easier for you to criticize and to make sure that everything is done above board in matters that concern you. But you can't have a president who is the president of the country and also a businessman in his hour or in his spare time.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated. Legal expert Mpumelele Zikalala.